Hey guys, today I'm going to brag about the car I recently got. I'm going to say it's the best low-cost basher you can get, hands down. I'll go over the reasons and talk about this in detail. It's the HBX 2997 Alpha 1/12 scale RC car. Yeah, they kind of gave it the name of the Turbo ST Off-Road. Now, out of the box, this thing is a ripper. One of the things that gives it the biggest advantage, I'd say, it's got 3 differentials. Center differential that really keeps the tires on the ground. This thing is almost impossible to pop a wheelie on. Usually these overpowered cars, they're popping wheelies and they're all over the place. So hats off to HBX by putting that center differential in this model. But you know, they're still kind of small, 12th scale. So to give you a little example, this guy here, this is a 18th scale. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's a 16th scale basher. It's got 3-inch tires. Yeah, this thing's like a rock. It just keeps going and going and going. Now here is a 12th scale. And you can see it's a bit bigger there. So right next to it, we got our 2997 Alpha. And if you look at it, it's much more aggressive. It's got the bigger tires. And this thing really just rips it up. So what I'm going to talk about here is how I changed mine from stock using just a few extra parts. These guys are on sale right now for about $150, ready to run. You just can't beat it. Okay, so let's rip this top off and I'll kind of show you what we've done. Really, all I've done is gotten bigger tires and some wheel extenders there. I don't know if you can see them in there, but they're 15mm extenders to give this guy a wider track. Now you see this car, this actually has the stock tires from this rig right over here. So I took them off here and I put them over here. So this gives you a good reference. Here's the stock tires for the 2997. These were 3-inch over here. These are about 4 inches, almost 4 inches. And these are about 4 3/4. Okay, that's really going to help this guy dig up the pavement. But you still don't want this guy to be topsy-turvy, so you have to widen the stance. You have to widen the stance on these guys. You don't want to go too wide, you know, it's not built for that. So that's why I just use these 15mm extenders down here. Really helps out. Again, both of these cars are 12th scale. In fact, they both have the exact same stance as this one out of the box. Alright. So, one other thing I've done over here is I took the front shocks off, as you can see here, and I put them back here. So the back end has 4 shocks total. Because when you get on the gas with this guy, it's really going to try to pull that back end down and maybe even lift up that front a little bit. But this back end's definitely going to grab. So I got the dual shocks back here, and what I did up in the front is used a slightly smaller shock to give this guy a little bit of a downward profile. It's going to help it keep it down on the ground when it takes off. It's going to help it keep the thing down, because you just don't want these guys wiping out going 40 miles an hour. Alright, let's talk about the controller a little bit on this. The only thing I didn't like this controller because here you can see it there. Got the controller and its own separate receiver. But as you can see here, get this in focus. Steering trim, steering direction, throttle trim. That throttle trim is to go from forward to reverse. It's not really a speed controller. So yeah, I kind of like to be able to turn the speed down a little bit on these guys, because you know how you do, you get excited, you pull that trigger as hard as possible, and yeah, you really don't want these wide open all the time. So what I did is I got the old Dumbo RC. I know that sounds corny, but these are great $30 controllers. They have everything, unlimited range. This is really nice. So you can see here, there's the receiver there, and what this thing has now is something called gyro. So let me turn this guy on. I'll show you how that works. Up here on the Dumbo, it's gonna be this knob here to control your gyro. So if you turn it all the way up, what you're gonna see here is this front end. You see that? If you just go around the corner, it helps you keep going straight. It gets a little whirly. So yeah, that's probably too much. I usually run it about 50%. There's 50%. Or you can just turn it off all the way. Alright, that really helps too. So these are great transmitters. $30, you can't go wrong. Alright, I'm going to take this for a spin and I'll show you what it does. Alright, there you see two 12 scale cars with the 2997 Alpha on the right. These are both the exact same form factor, and before I did the wheel upgrade, they had the exact same stance. So this just lets you know that this wider stance is really going to help keep this guy on the road, stop your car from flipping. And that's really what we want to do here. You don't want these cars flipping over when they're doing, 20, 30 miles an hour. You're just asking for trouble. These cars are great. I mean, really, there's 3 differentials on it too. I didn't cover that enough. The center differential is going to take all that pressure off these other differentials, the front and rear. When you do jumps or crashes or you hit something hard, yeah, that center differential is going to really protect everything and give it some give. And it's also not going to let it pop wheelies all the time and waste the power just on the back wheels. It's going to keep all 4 wheels going. Now, it is a little different to drive, but once you get used to it, yeah, it's the way to go. You don't want to be chasing this thing in a puddle somewhere. You want it to go. All right, let's see if I can give you a little sample here. Okay, I got to do this one-handed, I guess. See if I can master this. Woohoo! See, the grass is going to catch it. Let's give you a little speed test here and show you a little something here. Alright, let's see if we can capture this. Woohoo! Yeah, it's a little tough one-handed. Woohoo! Okay. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that outdoor demonstration. I wish it could have been a little more detailed, but driving one hand, yeah, that's pretty fun, isn't it? Okay, so I wanted to move on to the batteries. As you can see, this guy has a pretty small battery compartment. Take the strap off to the side, and you'll see it's really just for short batteries. Some people do take out this ECS because it's independent, which is great. And they'll move it over here to the servo over here and stick it on top. I really didn't want to do that because that means you got to cut away the plastic down here. And I didn't want to cut the plastic down here. It's part of the integrity. So, as you can see here, that's the stock battery. I'd call that a shorty. Same thing as this 2200. It's a shorty. And that barely fits in there. And you see, it's not much bigger. So that's a tight compartment. But these are 2S batteries. This guy can handle the 3S batteries with its separate ECS. And I found these batteries here. 3-cell shorties. These are for the deer. There's the label right there. So you can see they're a 1500 milliamp. But it's the same width as this, and you can get that guy right in there and get 3S speed out of this guy. Yeah, it hits about 40 miles an hour. Okay, that's what I did with batteries. Okay, here we have the car back on the bench. You can see I got the stock tire on there. When you compare that to the upgraded parts, yeah, it's a drastic change. It's a lot further in and it's a lot smaller. Yet these aren't small tires. Yeah, they're about 100 millimeters. Yeah, maybe about 95. And these guys, they're 125 millimeters. Yeah, you don't want to get too crazy big on them because then it's just going to be hard. And here's how these hub extenders work. You see, it's just a little slot in there to hold the pin. Put the pin in there. I can do it, right? Using the old left hand. Maybe not. Oh, there we go. So you got your pin in place. Make sure your slot is lined up. Push that in. And then the new wheels have got these little machined sleeved hub screws. Once you get that on, you extend your wheel out about 15 millimeters. It gives it that wide stance. Alright. I hope you enjoyed this. Really. One of the best low-cost bashers you can really get. And it holds up. It's a winner. Alright. Take care.